I haven't actually made videos on WeVideo before, so fingers crossed. Okay, so I thought I would go over kind of what we talked about today. Again, I'm very sorry for the technical difficulties. I am hoping that I will have the issue resolved soon and that I will also have a space for you guys as well as a time in which I can come to DHS and meet with you in person as well. So welcome to AP Research. That's the first thing. My name is Miss Martin. My first name is Corey. A little bit about me is that I'm married. My husband is a data analyst. I have a 7-month-old daughter named Lila, and I have 2 dogs. Both are corgis, and they're always in trouble. I am a science teacher here at West. I majored in science, which I'll talk about soon. I like to read, I like to be outside, and I have a terrible habit of reading movie reviews as I'm watching movies. So that's a little bit about me, and today I'm just going to kind of go through this PowerPoint and give you the essentials that you need to know about research. So I suppose the most important thing that we're going to talk about is the difference between this class and seminar. So I really like this quote. It's research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has thought, because I think that's kind of getting to the difference between the two things. And that is when you were in seminar, we were sort of thinking about what do the experts know about this topic. You were probably reading a lot of different experts' viewpoints and then sort of creating synthesis and argument pieces for what people should do about those problems or how people should maybe think about those problems. And in this class, we want to think about what is still unknown, like what things do we need to find out. And so we kind of separate these into what's called little r and big R research. So if we think about little r research is where we go out and we read or explore what other people have studied, and we either process this, put it all together and summarize it. That's kind of an update. We might analyze people's different viewpoints about a certain topic. We might argue one viewpoint over another, but that is all still essentially, we are talking about sort of the body of knowledge around a subject. In big R research, we're going to be contributing to that body of knowledge. So we want to gain like a new understanding. So this is typically what happens at college is in your respective majors or fields. You might do undergraduate and then later on graduate school research. So a lot of people that you guys talk to, you'll find that if you tell them you're in a research class, they'll just kind of be blown away and they'll tell you, oh, I didn't do that till my doctorate, because that's what a doctorate is, right? It's a 4-year-long research project. So in this class, we are doing a smaller version of that, a much more accessible version of that. But essentially, you're going to be the experts. You're going to be the person who has come up with their own research question, conducted their own study, and you now are the expert who knows this new thing that nobody knows, which is really cool. So kind of touching on this a little bit, again, the difference between the two courses are if we're thinking about the IRR or the IWA, then you have like sort of the introduction and the conclusion of a scientific paper. But in research, you're going to have like a methods section where you talk about the things that you went out and did. You'll have a result section, you'll have a discussion section, and then your bibliography is going to be specific to your field. You'll probably be using APA format because I love it. Here's a link to the syllabus. I'm not going to read this whole thing because it is crazy, crazy long, but I'm getting the highlights from the syllabus. If you ever have any questions about class, you can refer to the syllabus or some of the other sources that I will be posting, or you can come talk to me. Or you can email me, I guess. So about AP Research, this is the second class in the AP Capstone program. The prereq is AP Seminar, but I've already heard from Ms. Pate that you guys did awesome. So you are ready to be here. If you score 3 or higher in this class and AP Sim, and you choose 4 other AP courses that you have taken and passed, then you can gain the AP Capstone Diploma, which is pretty cool. So the goal of this course is to develop your own research question in your field of choice, kind of separating these out into humanities, the sciences, like the STEM fields, biology, chemistry, engineering, physics, etc., social sciences, history, and art. You will then complete an independent research study, which results in an academic paper and oral defense. So I'm going to circle back to the disciplines since you guys talked about these today. Each of these things has a different way of sort of knowing or exploring knowledge of the world. So if I'm talking about science, because I'm a science teacher, then I'm probably talking about the experiment. If I'm talking about social sciences, then there's a lot of experiments as well, but you can also do some mixed method approaches where you are maybe giving people surveys, doing interviews, that kind of thing. If we're talking about history, then there's definitely some science in history, right, where you do like chemical analysis of things. But there's also looking at primary documents and sort of reading for content and context. The humanities is like I was talking about literature. If I wanted to study, I don't know, something like, do any of the vocab words that Shakespeare invented pop up in modern day like language? Seems like something that's probably been studied already, but that would be like a humanities project about content, right? So that's kind of all taking different approaches. I separated art out, even though art is in the humanities, and the reason is because in our class you can research about art, like art that someone else has done. So you could do a research on like a famous sculptor that you like, and your research would be a content analysis of their sculptures. But it couldn't just rehash a summary of the sculptures. You would have to have come up with something new. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Or you can do what's called a create piece, which is where you really like sculpting, and so you create a sculpture, and then along with your sculpture you've created, you also have that academic paper that talks about how you created it, or the methods and steps that you take to create it, the context of your creation. Create pieces are really cool, especially for kids who are, I think, heavily involved in a lot of different arts. So if you are like really, really into orchestra, if you're really, really into visual arts or performing arts, and you're taking a lot of classes like that, and sometimes it's even easier to do a create piece because you're already in that mindset. So if you're interested in that, then we can definitely steer you that way too. Otherwise, then the research study looks pretty much like how you think a research study would go. So this culminates in an academic paper and then also an oral defense. So there's no exam, there's no multiple choice, there's no timed essay at the end. It's all due in April. The paper is a 4,000 to 5,000 word essay. It's scored by College Board and makes up 75% of your AP score. That paper corresponds to about a 15 to 20 page actual paper length. So it's pretty long, but I like to refer to how do you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. We're going to be breaking it into chunks during that spring semester whenever we write it. So we'll only be writing sections of it at a time. And so that will, I feel like 4,000, 5,000 words is very daunting, but if you're writing like 3 to 5 pages, just like every few weeks, it's not that different from what you guys already try to do. And then there's an oral defense, so that's where you give like a slides presentation over the research that you conducted while reflecting upon how you did that research. And then you answer a few questions that are from me about sort of what it's like to do research. And that's 25% of your AP score. And both things are due in April. So this kind of is the AP capstone. Sorry, I'm just blanking on something. Anagram? Called Quest. It just means that these ideas come up through seminar, they come up through research, but we are going to constantly be forming questions and then evaluating those questions and sort of putting together ideas, and then it's sort of a recursive process, right? Where because you start off with a research question, it's probably not going to be your final research question. You're going to have to come back to it again and again, sort of as things come up, as you change your own perspective. Okay, I'm going to send you guys a survey as to what I'm thinking this class might look like. I have some thoughts that right now are slightly technology dependent, but I would like to see you in person some on your campus. I would like for both West and BHS students to see each other in a third location. I know last year I think they met at Ozark Bagel Company. That'd be cool. And then there will be a couple of field trips to talk to one of the people within our district about especially your ethics and sort of the review board that we have. And then finally, for you guys who have some options versus like synchronous and asynchronous, Google Meets versus no Google Meets, that I would, I'm going to ask you some questions about in the survey. Great, so again, I'm Ms. Martin. My role in this class is, here's what I can't do. I cannot give you feedback on the paper or your oral defense, right? Because those are your AP exam in this class, and it would be like cheating, essentially. I cannot tell you, I think that this topic is really an interesting research question, I think you should do that. And I also cannot give you like specific materials. Like I couldn't say, oh, you're interested in learning about psychology. Here is all of my old psychology. Like here's a very specific paper to help you with a very specific problem within that psychology field. I could give you like some textbooks or some names of journals that I found were helpful or interesting, maybe in that subject. I can teach you skills. That's going to be my main role, is teaching you, okay, like what methods do you do? What does that look like? We'll do some examples and some assignments together. I can answer questions for the whole class. I can ask you leading questions. Like I can't give you a research question, but I can maybe ask you questions to help you sort of find one on your own. And then I'm going to help you find safe and efficient ways to conduct this research. You can also have a person on your team who is called an expert advisor. Sometimes this is, it's most often another teacher at your school who maybe has majored or studied or teaches the subject that you're interested in, right? So like I'm a science teacher. I don't know that much about theater. So if you wanted to do like a theater project, then you might talk to your theater teacher first. You might have someone in your family, or you might have an internship that you do, and people have pulled expert advisors from both of those places as to someone who works in that field that you're interested in, that your project sort of falls under, and then they give you feedback on the following. Say you're conducting a method, you're writing a program in a coding language. I don't speak that coding language. And therefore you're going to your computer science teacher to help you work out some bugs. They can't just fix the program for you, but they should give you like strategies as to try to fix that. They can tell you like, hey, there's some journals out there that are really, really good for this problem. They can tell you that that analysis strategy is not like the best idea, but they can't do the research for you, and they shouldn't read your paper either. Oh, so here are the sort of where my expertise falls. I went to Arkansas State University, where I majored in psychology and biology. I went to graduate school at University of Arkansas, where I got half a master's in ecology and evolution. And I switched into the teaching program because I really liked it. So anything sort of social sciencey, I can help you with. Anything definitely biology related, but chemistry and physics I can get through to. Let's see, education I can definitely help you with. And then if you have any kind of history questions, then I have enough of those classes that I took just for fun that I can help you do research that is like historically focused. So if it is outside that realm of my knowledge, then I'm going to find you somebody, like a really good expert advisor. Like we are going to find a good expert advisor for you, and we are going to steer you kind of in that direction. So some timeline of events. Don't feel like you need to come into this class knowing exactly what you want to study or exactly what your research question is. You're going to find that research question is going to change, but we're trying to have a preliminary one by the end of this month. I definitely want you to have chosen a discipline by the end of this month. So what kinds of fields are you interested in doing or learning about? In September, we're going to gather sources and complete an annotated bibliography. In October, we're going to learn together the different types of methods. In November, we're going to turn in your project proposal to conduct your study. And then once you have that in, you can go ahead and start collecting data. So December and January is for running your experiment, giving out your surveys. It's for conducting your interviews. It's for doing your create piece. It's whatever you need to do to get information. And while that's sort of going on and people are in and out of class, I'm going to be teaching about how do you analyze data once you have it. So like you have a giant spreadsheet, what do you do with that? And then starting next semester, we're going to write one section of the research paper, one section at a time. We're going to peer review each other's pieces because we're going to really rely upon our peers and what they sort of helped us do in seminar to finish off research this year, since I can't read your actual papers. In March, we'll put on the final touches on that research paper, and then we'll start practicing for our oral defenses. I plan on doing some tiny practices throughout the year, but I just kind of want you guys to know what that looks like. In April, everything is due, so April's kind of a mad dash, and then don't worry about May. May will be lovely. Great, so grading overview. I'll grade both your final paper and your oral defense, the sections of it, sort of the segments of it, for completion. I can just do completion points, like you did it, congratulations. However, some other assignments are the first one that we'll do, will start tomorrow, and that is the content piece. And then we will talk through our 50 source assignment, our annotated bibliography. We're going to do these things called prep journals, which is where we sort of gather everything that we have learned or that we're reflecting on about how we do our project. Kind of think of it as like a scientist blog almost. So your reflections will be graded just based upon who did them, sort of the depth of them. And then your peer reviews that you do of each other, like how are you peer reviewing? Are you being a good peer review person? And then finally your practice PODs. So the ones that you do not over your topic, I can grade. Right, and then today we talked through the disciplinary understandings, which I looked through your guys' slides and you did a great job of. It's really just about the idea that if I am researching history, then I'm doing methods and analyses that are really different than someone who is researching literature, even though you think there would be like a lot of overlap between those two things. Great, and then hopefully you're taking the survey. Okay, and that is it. I hope to have a solution technologically soon, and I'll get back to you guys really quickly. It was really great to meet you, and I will talk to you soon.